Google stock is up almost 30% this year and is on the verge of becoming the first tech company to hit $1,000 a share. So the question for many investors, time to buy or sell the stock? Joining us now to answer that, Paul LaMonica, he's assistant managing editor for CNN Money, and Ben Schachter, technology analyst at Macquarie Research. So gentlemen, I mean, the question here is, should investors buy, sell, or hold? Ben, you have a target of $925 on shares of Google. It's almost there. What would you tell your clients now? Buy, sell, or hold?
We actually still like the stock here and think there's a lot of momentum behind it. They continue to sort of push the envelope in the different things that they're able to do. The core business of advertising is working well, and they have all these other services and software and hardware on top of that. So we think the shares can go higher from here.
Paul, answer what Ben just said. I know you don't dislike the stock, but you don't see it as a bargain at, what, $915 a share. And, of course, the history of companies that grow so far so fast, particularly in the tech business, is that they sometimes slip and fall later.
That's definitely true. I do agree with Ben 100% that Google just dominates online advertising right now. But in some respects, I think investors need to be a little worried that Google right now is eerily like Apple back in September of last year. Just before the iPhone 5 came out, everyone thought Apple could do no wrong, and it's been a very bloody sell-off. And I think part of that can be attributed to the fact that just so many big money hedge funds and institutions owned Apple, and once they soured on it, so to speak, it was just a long unwinding. And now Google is a popular hedge fund stock too. So I just think it's something investors need to be aware of, although it's not necessarily predicting any sort of massive sell-off for Google anytime soon.
Well, Ben, what do you say to that? Is Google over-owned, too much of a love affair with the stock, the same thing that happened with Apple a year ago? What do you say to that?
Well, listen, I always get concerned when a stock runs this far, this fast, on no real change to the fundamentals. However, in this situation, I think what is happening is that people are realizing that beyond the advertising, beyond search, beyond display ads, there's a whole other part of this business that's just developing now around services, around hardware, around Google X, and we think a marketplace that's going to compete directly with eBay and Amazon is also coming. So a lot of very big things are still to come for Google.
This is a very big business, Paul, and obviously they're dominant in search. They're dominant in online advertising. They've got the #1 cell phone operating system in the Android platform. Now they're getting into the music business. They've got a tablet. It feels like the business is clicking on all cylinders. You point out the growth rate is something like 15% in profit. The PE on 2013 is something like 19. So therein lies a little bit of the rub. But this is a succeeding company, isn't it, Paul?
Without question. And what I really love and admire about Google is that it is not a company that's resting on its laurels. It recognizes that there is tough competition from Apple, from Amazon, as Ben mentioned, that's coming. Facebook, obviously, as well. It'd be very easy for Google to just sit back and relax and say, yay, we're at $900 a share, $300 billion market value. Obviously, Wall Street loves what we're doing, so we don't really need to change that. But Google has been a company that just recently they shifted management, taking the longtime head of Android, putting him in another position at the company, and promoting someone who had been in charge of Chrome and having him now also in charge of Android. And I think that shows that this is a company that isn't going to just say, yeah, we're doing everything exactly as we should be. It's a company that recognizes there's room for improvement, even though they are doing extremely well already. And I think that's very good to see.
Ben, there's no question here that Google is behaving like an innovation machine. Listening to our report from John Fort from the conference, and you're there too, of course, do you think these new product rollouts that he was talking about, are they game changers? Are these the kinds of things that are going to power Google stock higher? Or is Google getting too much away from its core business of search?
Well, I think on the first question of today and the conference, there was not a lot really that's going to move the needle for Google. A music service is a good thing to have. It'll certainly help with Android and help with Play, but it's not really going to change the numbers fundamentally. Going forward, I think you touch on a very interesting point, and that is they are doing a lot of things that are quite different from advertising, quite different from search. The question remains, are these things going to succeed? So far, we think they have momentum. We think they're on the right track, but it's going to take some time.
All right, Ben, Paul, thank you so much. Ben Schachter of Macquarie Research, Paul LaMonica from CNN Money.